I did that just to make Caitlin laugh. I usually don't go off spouting like Mrs. Doubtfire all the time. So
No, she actually does.
How's everybody doing this Wednesday?
Audra's feeling peppy.
I am.
Oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of weekly Facebook Live chats with yours truly and Audra. Audra, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what show have you been binge watching lately?
Binge watching. I don't know. I have not been binge watching the Hallmark Channel, that's for sure. I hate that period of time from like November to mid-January when all the shows take their winter finales, winter hiatuses.
I know.
And I'm a little disappointed that my niece has a basketball game tomorrow night, so I'm going to have to DVR Grey's Anatomy because that's my show. Like on Thursdays, it's like, everybody leave me alone. I'm in my zone. Don't call me. Don't talk to me, whatever, you know. So I'm ready for Grey's Anatomy to be back tomorrow night.
Good. And who are you?
Oh, who am I? I'm Audra.
Yeah.
I'm the publicity manager at Litfuse. Been here almost 6 years now.
Coming up.
Yeah. My 6-year anniversary with Litfuse is coming up. Almost. And then my 16th anniversary of Life in PR comes up this year too. So.
Yay.
I'm an old woman. No,
you're not.
That's the Mrs. Doubtfire randomness earlier. Really, the two are completely unrelated. So since I had to say who I was, who are you, Caitlin?
So my name's Caitlin.
Inside Caitlin.
I'm the social media director here at Litfuse, and the show that I've been watching a lot lately is The Crown. I started watching it last year when it debuted, and I watched, I think, 2 episodes and then just kind of forgot about it. But ever since then, it's been on my list of things to watch. And so when season 2 came out, I was like, okay, this is my time. I'm gonna watch it. So I'm on the very last episode of season 2 right now.
We've also been talking about The Good Doctor. That's what I thought you were gonna answer. Sort of.
Yeah, the Good Doctor is also makes me cry almost every week.
You know, talking about shows that make you cry, which this has nothing to do with anything whatsoever. But you know, people talk about how much This Is Us makes you cry. Have you watched that?
I have, and I liked it. But then it started to feel like they were trying to make you cry every week.
Yeah.
At which point, then it became less tear-inducing because you're like, okay, how is this happening to this family? You know? I don't.
And I think I'm kind of the same way. I like it, but I'm like, I don't sit down and make plans to cry every Tuesday.
That's me every Monday.
Yeah.
Not because of the back.
I'm going to ask a stupid question, but I'm going to skip the stupid question. And we'll get into our topic of the day. Algorithms. What is an algorithm and why are they so scary to everybody? I mean, you hear the word and people think, oh, part algebra, part, I don't know. But scary stuff. It's a little bit like algebra, though, because it does with numbers and factors and that kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. So the best way that I like to describe it to people who aren't doing the coding behind the scenes of social media and they have that jargon to be able to use to describe exactly what an algorithm is, but basically it's kind of the behind the scenes software that works to determine what is jargon to be able to use to. Oh, we're getting some feedback. What an algorithm is.
Sorry for the echoes. That's my fault.
No, you're good. You're good. So yeah, basically, an algorithm is the software that's working behind the scenes to determine, when your posts are seen by certain people, how often they're seen, who they're seen by, and they really kind of run, they run social media. We are at the mercy of the algorithms, which I think is why people are so frightened by them and why people have such extreme reactions to changes with them, because we really are at their mercy.
Yeah, people are really freaked out now by the whole Facebook news.
Yes, yes. And I actually wrote a blog post about that for the Litfuse blog that will be up later today. And it's talking a little bit more in depth about what exactly those changes will be. And it's geared particularly toward authors, but it really could apply to anyone, whether you're in the publishing field, whether you are a blogger, whatever um, whatever field you might be in. We really are at the mercy of the Facebook algorithm, and it's a little bit different, but to be honest, I feel like we've kind of seen this change coming for a while now. Um, just the basics of it is that Facebook has said, they really want to make sure that people's time is well spent on Facebook. And so to them, that means seeing more content from family and friends as opposed to businesses. So then
Because that's really what we've wanted all along, isn't it? I mean, that's kind of what we've been complaining about, is all these ads and different things coming in that, and only seeing the 25 people, the post that's going around. Oh, comment here with your favorite whatever, just so I know that you're here and I can see more than 25 people. I mean,
right. And I mean, that is one way to up the engagement on your business page. It works, and it increases the likelihood that those people will then see posts from you in the future. But yeah, it can be a little bit frustrating for people who are looking to, connect with people as a business page on Facebook, and you just kind of have to play the game. That might mean paying for advertising, but it's really interesting because I'm a part of an Instagram like pod, if you will. Basically, it's a group of people who have similar interests, and when they established the group, you joined with the agreement that you were going to interact with all of those people in that group to increase engagement. And at the time, the Instagram algorithm really favored people who were from the same area, who have the same likes. And the thought behind that was that if you created one of these groups and were really intentional about connecting with people who lived close to you, who also had similar interests, then you would be seen by other people who lived locally, and they would hopefully follow you, regardless of whether or not they had similar interests. So, anyways, there were some discussions happening in this Instagram pod this week, and a few people were really freaking out about these new changes that Instagram had supposedly decided to go ahead with. And basically, they linked to this one person's very long blog post about how like only 10% of your like followers will actually end up seeing your Instagram post, and if you want more people to see it, you have to make sure that you respond to comments within 60 minutes. And now supposedly hashtags, like 5 is the magic number instead of like 30 like it was a year ago. So as I was reading through this, I was like, my goodness, like if we lived our lives on social media based on algorithms and simply just focused on fulfilling the requirements of the algorithm, like that would, number one, ruin social media, to be honest. I really truly think that it would take away the joy that comes with posting a funny meme on Twitter, or, sharing a Facebook update about something happening with your book or with your publishing company or whatever it might be. And so I really feel like it would take away the joy of that. But also, like, there's so many changes that happen from month to month that it would almost be impossible to keep up with that. And again, it just goes back to the issue at hand. Like, social media is meant to be social, and certainly the algorithms are trying to, I think, in my opinion, kind of direct us back toward social media being social, trying to connect us with other people that we might not necessarily, that we might not necessarily connect with because they don't live locally or whatever it might be. But I really do think that the algorithms are trying to get us back to that place. And so, you just kind of have to play the game at that point, whether that's paying for advertising or, just doing a lot of testing on your end as to what parts of the algorithm and its new changes that work best for you. But really what the algorithms are trying to do is it's trying to get back to a place of quality content that people want to engage with, that's meaningful, that provides discussions that are not negative, like I feel like we've seen a lot in the past few months. So, kind of regardless of whatever changes happen within the algorithm, they are important to a point, but you shouldn't necessarily live your social media life based completely around the algorithms, because when it comes down to it, what you should be focusing on is quality content that's genuine, that's engaging, that is meaningful to other people, and it should be content that you would like to see on, your Facebook page, your Instagram profile, if you weren't actually in charge of it. That makes sense.
Because I've seen some people online that they're just worried about what is going to get me the most likes, what is going to get me the most comments. And yeah, you're right. It sucks all the fun out of, different, just being social, being yourself and whatever. Some people, I think, sometimes overthink it. And, yeah, you're right. What would you like to see on Facebook? What would you like to see on Instagram? And just kind of going that way. So sometimes go a little bit more into, sometimes you have to play the game, because you did say that. But when do you play the game, and when do you just go more with being yourself?
I think it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So for instance, let's say that you are a publishing company and you have an author's new book coming out, and you feel that it's really important to drive sales to this book. At that point, I would say, all right, it's time to play the game, if you will. It's time to advertise. It's time to put a little bit of money into, part of why the algorithms exist, because, social media platforms are businesses. They're trying to make money as well. And so, that's definitely part of the reason why, these platforms have created advertising, is because they're trying to make money. But also, if something is that important to you, whether you have a new book coming out, whether it's a project that you've been working on for a long time, or a video that took a long time to film and to edit, and you're so proud of it, wouldn't you put money behind it if it was really that important to you? And so in that sense, I do think that it is important to, play the game, if you will, and actually choose to put money where your mouth is and advertise. But that also doesn't mean that every single post that you publish on Facebook needs to be boosted or needs to become an advertising campaign or anything like that, because that is why the algorithm also exists, is to determine, there is some content that works well on Facebook that you wouldn't have to pay a dime to promote because it just works well. So the key is kind of determining the difference between the two and actually determining what will work best for your goal, if that includes advertising.
Are we really going to know anything about how we need to look at Facebook pages as authors and such? Do we know now what we really need to be expecting when the big change comes that's coming from Facebook? Or are we really just going to have to kind of, don't panic, just kind of sit back and see actually what it's going to look like?
Yeah. Well, I think that the changes have already started to have been implemented. If you look at Mark Zuckerberg's post where he announced all of this, it made it sound like they were already starting to, make some changes to the algorithm. So you might not have noticed it quite yet. It could be rolling out with some people's feeds already, and it does take time for the algorithm to work its way through millions and millions of people's profiles and accounts. But I do think that it's never too early to begin to implement some of the changes that you think that need to be made. But that doesn't mean going full-fledged, full force, changing completely the way that you talk to people online or whatever medium you choose to use on Facebook, whether that's, just a post or video content or memes or whatever it might be. As with any algorithm change, just know that you're not alone in feeling confused about what will happen to your posts in the future. But don't be afraid to have a period of testing. And I talk about this a little bit in today's blog post that will be published a little bit later on the Litfuse blog. But basically, now is a great time to begin testing what times work best for your audience. What mediums do they connect with best? What kind of questions can you ask that, seem to get the most engagement? And, it's a constant time of testing. So it takes time. Yeah, it will take time and it will take patience. But just know that if you are careful in what you post and you are keeping an eye on it, you will gain a better understanding of how your post will work in the long run. So don't freak out. Don't feed into this hype that it's the newsfeed apocalypse or whatever. But just take a deep breath, do some testing, and everything will really be fine. I promise.
We are about to run out of time, but just want to throw out there to anyone watching right now or anyone that watches later, if you have any questions for Caitlin along these lines or any questions about PR, social media, anything like that, be sure to either post on this video or shoot us a message or email us questions, and we may be answering your questions next week or sometime soon, either on our blog or on a live video.
Yeah. And thank you to Caitlin and Carol for chiming in during the live chat. We're saying hi. We see you guys, and we appreciate your comments. But truly, though, if there's anything that you want us to cover in the future, let us know. We're happy to, include those topics in our weekly chats. And we look forward to more of these in the future. So thank you guys for tuning in. All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.